Before we jump into the show, I want to let you guys know that this show is being sponsored by PristineAuction.com. They have hundreds of daily auctions with brand new items every single day. Everything is JSA certified, so you know it's all 100% authentic. It's free to join, it's free to bid, and you only pay when you win. Check out PristineAuction.com and let them know that you heard about them from Sleeper Wire. That's PRISTINE auction.com. Welcome, everybody, to the Sleeper Wire Show. It is the Week 9 preview. Today is November 2nd. I am your host, Professor Chris, and with me today, once again, PrimeTime Lucas. How's it going, man?
Hey, what's going on, man? It's good to be back. I was gone last week. I know I had some listeners reach out and tell me they needed some advice, and apparently one of my cohorts needed some advice next week because when I wasn't here to tell him about my love for Marvin Jones, he just let him go.
You know what? He did, and he's bummed about that. But you know what? I also got Prophet Hus here. What's going on, man?
Doing pretty good. I can't complain, even though it wouldn't help on some of my teams. I mean, when you're going 0-7, 0-8 on some of them, you know, only one or two, you know. But it's a rough season out there. But we're here. We're trying to get through it all.
Yeah, we are. Do you have any 8-0 teams?
No, I did hear of Mike had one. I feel for him.
No, 8-0, not 0-8.
8-0. Oh no, unfortunately, no.
No undefeated teams. What about you, Lucas?
No, that'd be nice.
I do. I have 2 out of my 8. I'm still undefeated.
Wow,
you bastard, you.
Good.
Yeah. Well, it's when you have Gurley and Kamara and a 12-man on the same team because it's a 2-player.
How did that even happen?
It's a 2-player keeper, and I took Gurley in the first last year and Kamara in the 13th. So rolling into this year, those are my 2 keepers. So we get to keep for a total of 2 years. If you keep someone in the first round, you only get him. If you draft him in the first round, you only get to keep him for 1 year. But the other guys, you get to keep the following 2 years at a 1-round penalty.
So you get Kamara in the 11th next year.
I do. So I get another year of Kamara, and unfortunately, I didn't pick up James Conner. Someone else in the league drafted James Conner, so he'll get him for the next 2 years.
Still, Kamara in the 11th. That's pretty great.
Feels good.
Yeah, you can't complain.
Guys, bye week hell is upon us. It is in full swing this week. The first week of the season where we have 6 teams on bye. The Colts, Jaguars, Giants, Cardinals, Bengals, and Eagles all have the week off this week, leaving a ton of teams scrambling to the waiver wire. We're going to get into the matchups, so here we've got a great show for you guys this week. We're going to go through the start-sit from each one of the games. Then we're going to talk about our Flex Those Muscles segment and our Streamer Wire segment at the end. Hus, Lucas, you guys ready to jump into the matchups?
Let's rock it.
All right, so Thursday Night Football this week. We're recording it about a half hour before the game is about to kick off. You guys are listening to this on Friday. Raiders at 49ers. I saw something on Facebook that said, statistically speaking, this is the worst primetime game that the NFL has had in 50 years.
Yeah, it sounds accurate. I wouldn't dispute it. I wouldn't try to.
Like when you take like all offensive and defensive statistics, injuries, everything like that, the worst primetime matchup in 50 years. Horrible.
That's close to it.
Yeah. Who do you think is going to win tonight? Because we know the loser is everybody who watches, right?
Oakland's going to win tonight. I mean, who is Mullins? I think this
Mullins is going to pull it out.
This is going to be the one usable game for Oakland's defense the entire season.
Going Nick Mullins all the way.
You think Nick Mullins is going to win? He's going to win the game?
He's going to get it done. He's going to take care of things.
He's going to get it done.
That just felt fun to say, no, I'm going Oakland.
Yeah, I think you got to at this point. Let's go ahead and get into the Sunday matchup. So kicking it off here, Falcons at Redskins. So Matt Ryan, auto start at this point, right? Don't even really need to talk about him. Tevin Coleman has been pretty disappointing in the starting role. Sit Tevin Coleman against the Redskins this week.
6-week, hell week, bye week. I think you got to play him.
Yeah, unfortunately, you got to play him. I mean, unless you got – I'd need to know who you're sitting him 4, I wouldn't feel happy about starting him at all. But given this many guys missing, you gotta.
And I think I'm going to start off this first matchup by saying none of the, well, it depends who you've got on your team answers from here on out. So start sit Tevin Coleman. He's a start for me, but for the same reason Lucas said, I think you got to play him on the bye week hell, right?
Absolutely.
So you basically just said the same thing by saying you got to play him because it's bye week hell. Gotcha.
No, because you're like, well, it depends on who else. Like,
but you said the same thing, though.
No, because obviously
it's the same thing, Chris.
No, because you're playing him over guys who are on a bye, of course.
Yeah, I guess.
Anyways, Ito Smith, start sit.
Man, I guess start him.
I'm sitting him
on the week.
Sit that boy.
You think he gets a touchdown this week? Gets into the end zone?
He can get in there. I think he gets in there. I mean, who do you have to start this week? That's where I'm at with this week.
Well, I mean, let me just read you off something here. I got a 4-teamer starting running backs: McCaffrey, Chubb, Eckler, and Mark Ingram. Got all 4 of them I'm playing this week. And I got Doug Martin on the bench. So I'm not playing Ito over any of those guys. And this is on a team I'm 3-5.
Yeah, I think you got to sit him as well. But let's go ahead and move on here. Move to the wide receivers. Julio Jones, obvious stud. We don't need to talk about him. This week, this guy or this guy? Calvin Ridley or Mohamed Sanu, Lucas?
Give me Sanu.
Who's?
I'll take Ridley.
I'm taking Ridley as well. Start sit Austin Hooper.
Play him.
Starting him.
I'm starting him too. For the main reason is that tight end is so shallow.
Yeah, it's pretty ugly.
Yep. Moving to the Redskins side of the ball, Alex Smith still sucks. He's been terrible this season. But is he worth a stream against the Falcons this week?
No, I still don't like it. He has hardly any options to throw to there right now. Reed is questionable, may not play. Chris Thompson is still questionable, may not play. Crowder's out. I just don't know who's throwing the ball to. It's going to be Peterson run game.
Say you have Andrew Luck and he's on a bye, and you're looking at Alex Smith or Joe Flacco. Who would you rather play?
Flacco.
I feel like we got this question yesterday, and I feel like I said Flacco as well.
Had this one on the mail sack?
Yeah, I feel like, we did.
Yeah, going Flacco as well here. Adrian Peterson is having a great season so far. 3 straight weeks with at least 97 rushing yards. He has 50 carries the last 2 weeks. This guy is a workhorse back once again. Definitely got to keep playing him. Is Jordan Reed startable again? Only, I think, 38 yards last week, but he did have 7 catches in a PPR. Is he maybe back, Lucas?
He's like we just said, he's questionable this week. I'm not trusting him at all, but I know there's not a whole lot of tight ends out there. Look to the streamer section of this one to see a couple guys I'd rather play over him.
Hoos, would you rather play Reed or Hooper?
Hooper.
Let's go ahead and move to the next matchup. Detroit Lions at Minnesota Vikings. A pretty nice NFC North divisional game here. Matthew Stafford sit against Minnesota. Now, Golden Tate was just traded to the Eagles, so he does not have Tate anymore.
Start him.
Start for me as well. What about you, Hoos?
Yeah, I start him.
All right. Would you guys, well, obviously he's played at this point, but as of right now, since we don't know, it's 20 minutes before the game starts, would you stream Derek Carr over Matthew Stafford?
No.
Yes.
Because of the matchup?
Yes.
All right. I think I would still stick with Stafford. Kerryon Johnson, I think he's an auto start at this point, isn't he?
Absolutely.
Yeah, given, everything he's doing, you got to keep continuing along with him.
For sure. Only 22 rushing yards last week, but 6 catches for 69 yards through the air, putting up a pretty nice fantasy day, especially in PPR. Kenny Golladay and Marvin Jones are now must-starts with Golden Tate. Just real quick, yes, right? Just tell me I'm correct.
Yes.
Yeah, and you might also see even more work from Kerryon in the passing game. So
Absolutely. On the Vikings side of the ball, you are still starting every single Viking. I'm not going to spend 10 minutes gushing about Adam Thielen like I did a couple of weeks ago.
Would you start Rudolph? What if you had Rudolph or Olsen?
That is one of the things I was going to ask you guys. I still like Rudolph, and I don't know why. I think I'm going to give him one more week.
I'm uncomfortable with him. I'm not going to lie. I'm very uncomfortable with him.
Oh, so yeah. I do not feel as comfortable as I did at the beginning of the season.
I'm sitting him for Olsen in the league, which I don't think is saying too much because it's Tampa, but there it is.
Right.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. I'm uncomfortable with him, but I still feel okay starting him under most conditions. But if I got Olsen, I'm definitely going to start Olsen over him.
Yep. One thing to note, Stephon Diggs did not practice on Thursday, but he does expect to play on Sunday, so just keep that in mind. Yep. Moving on, another division game here, Steelers at Ravens. Guys, are you playing Ben Roethlisberger on the road against the Ravens?
Negative.
Negatory.
Not doing it.
Would you play Rivers over him?
Oh, yeah.
Wilson?
Yep. Start Mayfield over him. Close. I probably would, though, to be honest. Yeah, I think I would.
Wow. I mean, these games, especially in Baltimore, are usually pretty ugly.
Yep.
Speaking of James Conner, his one horrible game this week was against the Ravens back in week 4. 9 carries for 19 yards. Temper expectations on the road for him, right, Lucas?
Yes.
Vance McDonald or Jesse James?
Vance. Mr. Stiff Arm.
Yeah, going Vance.
I'm going to say Vance as well. Joe Flacco, I put in the show notes, is he a stream this week? Well, over Alex Smith anyway, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Let's see here. The Ravens did just trade for Ty Montgomery. Is it time to get rid of Alex Collins, or are you still holding on? Hoos, I know you're a big Alex Collins fan, or were at least at one point in time. How do you feel about this?
I'm still holding on to him just because he's a starting running back, I guess. I said that with a question mark because we're not
we
sure.
Don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still holding on to him. I'm not just going to drop him straight up.
Honestly, I think it's a time to trade for him right now, and here's my reasoning. Why do we automatically think that Ty Montgomery is coming in and he's going to be a running back? He's only recently transitioned to that position from a wide receiver in the last year just to fulfill a need for the Packers. So how do we not know that the Ravens aren't going to try to incorporate him as a wide receiver? And so if you have other people that are worried about Ty Montgomery, go after Collins. Because as far as we know, it's just going to be Collins and Buck Allen going forward in the backfield just like it's been, and you can buy real low on Collins.
Yeah, I like it. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, I mean, if he's going to take from anyone, it's going to be from Buck.
Do you guys think John Brown is worth playing this week? Start, sit?
Yeah, I start him.
Yes.
Yeah, I think he's a weekly start for me right now until we see otherwise. He's been pretty consistent, putting up pretty solid fantasy points. I'm also streaming Willie Snead in a league where it's one of those leagues where I got to take a shot. I got to have something good happen. I got to take some chances.
Yeah.
And I'm taking chances on my boy Willie Snead.
He let me down recently. He dropped a couple passes when I needed him to fill in for me on a bye week. So he's kind of in my doghouse.
Well, why don't you tweet at him and
I don't do that. I don't tweet at players telling them they screwed up my fantasy week. I still have a little, there's a little
decency in you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that last week. Let's move on here, though. Maybe a more exciting game. Chiefs at Browns. Pat Mahomes is a stud. You're definitely playing him. Tyreek Hill, also a stud, but he was downgraded to limited on Thursday. If he is still hobbled on Sunday, Sammy Watkins, start, sit. He did catch 2 touchdowns last week.
Starting some Sammy Watkins. I like his opportunity, especially with a Tariq possibly not 100%.
What if Hill is 100%?
Still starting him. I was talking about him on a Monday show. He's a guy I'm leaving in my lineup a week after week.
What about you, Lucas? Sammy Watkins, start, sit.
I don't know about the week after week leaving him in, but this week I'm probably going to play him because if Hill's out there, maybe he's just a little bit of a decoy,
Could be.
So,
Could be. Yep. Kareem Hunt is a stud. You're obviously playing him. Travis Kelce, obviously playing him as well. Baker Mayfield, let's move to the Brown side of the ball. I'm actually going to get into him a little bit later, so let's move to the running back here. Nick Chubb, I think, is a great play against the Chiefs. I'm struggling with this decision, though, like I have been the last few weeks in this league. Nick Chubb or Kerryon Johnson?
I want to say Kerryon is the way that I would go here, even though I love Nick Chubb.
What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm going to Kerryon as well.
You think the passing game sort of tips in that favor? What if it was standard?
My question is, if KC gets up early and Browns are having to throw a ton from behind, how much time on the field does Chubb really see and how much time does Duke Johnson see?
More of a game script type thing.
Yeah, and I don't think that there's any game script where Carrion's not going to be involved against Minnesota.
All right. Wide receiver here, Jarvis Landry. Hopefully he's going to get back to being super involved like he was at the beginning of the season. David Njoku, you got to think that he's going to bounce back after that goose egg last year. I mean, like you were just saying, Lucas, Mayfield's going to have to throw, right?
Absolutely.
Moving on here, another division game, Jets at Dolphins. This is a pretty bad week for streaming defenses. I was looking through in a bunch of leagues where I stream them. Not real excited about any of the options. But the Dolphins, I thought were worth a stream against the Jets. What do you guys think?
I'm streaming them in a league. I am a little nervous that Crowell might have one of his 150-yard games against that porous run defense, though.
Speaking of, sit Crowell.
Start him.
Starting them.
Yep. Who is the Jets wide receiver to own? And I'm going to ask you this because a few seasons ago you called Quincy Enunwa, and then last season, not last season, maybe the season before, it was Robbie Anderson. So who's the Jets wide receiver to own right now?
You know, if we had a vet quarterback, I would give you one, but I don't think the quarterback knows. I'm going to say Chris Herndon.
Okay.
Even though he's the tight end?
You know, just because quarterbacks, especially rookie ones, they usually like to depend on their tight ends. So I don't really like any of these guys, unfortunately, even though I like them all. I like them, you know, I've liked them at different times. But right now, I just can't get behind it, like really any of them right now.
Let's say deep league, Robbie Anderson or Rashard Matthews.
I guess Robbie. Robbie.
What about you, Lucas?
Enunwa was the guy. He was
not even playing.
He was at practice. He had his helmet on. He may not play this week, but he may. And if not, he's probably going to play next week at the latest. Robbie Anderson was also sidelined, and he didn't play last week. And Robbie Anderson didn't practice today either.
This weekend, would you tell people to look on their waivers and see if Quincy Enunwa was there and to pick him up if he is?
Yes, I'm actually looking through right now, and I am going to pick him up if one of these wide receivers I have in Yahoo. Which a cool thing about Yahoo is once a player has played, you can drop him from your team if you don't have him on your lineup. So something that I'll do is I'll go and pick up players like early in the season or in weeks on a Thursday night game or a Sunday morning game and see if they hit. And if not, I'll drop them and then take another shot on a guy later that day. So Enunwa was a guy I would do that.
All right. Speaking of Chris Herndon, sit him. He scored a touchdown each of the last 3 weeks.
Given the tight end situation, I'm going to start him.
Yeah, I actually have to stream him in a couple leagues. I got Ebron or Ertz on a bye. I'm not happy about it.
Yeah, I don't think anyone is.
Kenyon Drake is an auto start at this point, right? I'm not a big Drake fan, but he's been playing well against the Jets. Bye week hell, you got to play him?
You know I'm a Draker.
I'm a Draker.
I'm a Draker.
Kenyon Drake or Nick Chubb?
Ooh.
Chubb.
I think I gotta go Chubb this week in this matchup, but I do like Drake, especially in a PPR.
I'm going Chubb as well. Danny Amendola or Devontae Parker? Who would you rather have this week?
Hus, this is your team. Tell us.
Oh, man, I don't know if it's my team, but I guess since I'm close to them and I see them, I'm going to go Parker, though, even though I like Amendola.
Okay, I like both of them.
I'm going Amendola. Parker's not getting a 46-yard pass off someone else's helmet every week.
Yeah.
Yep. Such a fluke play. That was fun to watch, though.
I think they're both playable this week, though.
Yeah, I think this week for sure. What about rest of season?
There, I do like them both.
Rest of season, I'm going to go Parker because Amendola. If Brock is the starter for the rest of the season, I think I would go Amendola. But with Tannehill there, Amendola didn't have a double-digit game in PPR.
Yeah. I'd like to probably pick back up Stills if Tannehill comes back.
All right, let's move on to the next game. Bears at Bills. Mitch Trubisky has thrown 7 touchdowns over the last 3 weeks, and that is taking out his 6-touchdown game. It was 13 touchdowns over the last 4, which is ridiculous. Also had at least 47 rushing yards each of the last 4 games. Is he a definite start against Buffalo? Top 12?
I'm starting him.
Fantasy Pros has him as a top 12 quarterback. You know who else is ranked in Fantasy Pros top 12? Tariq Cohen in PPR. I saw this as I was making my rankings, and I couldn't believe it. So whoever one of you is higher on Cohen, justify the fact that Cohen should be ranked as the RB11.
Oh man, I don't think I have him there, but now that you mention it, let me look where I have him for.
Well, we have six teams on bye right now. So.
Yeah, but an RB1 ranked as an RB1. I'm not saying he can't finish there because he can always break off a huge play, but ranked there? Come on.
I mean, he's looked good. He's just.
I probably have him top 15, but I'm pulling mines up right now, and yeah, I've got him 12.
Man, okay, justify it.
I guess it just is what it is. I mean, guys I have ahead of him are.
It is what it is.
Mark Ingram. I got.
Well, who do you have behind him? That's what we want to know. Who do you have behind him?
Behind him, I have Chubb. I've got Carson. I've got Miller. I've got Drake, Howard, Carry-On. I've got Thompson, Coleman, Deion Lewis. A bunch of guys that you're just not too sure of with their matchup. Cohen in a PPR with his matchup, I think it's fine.
If I were to ask you, Chris Carson or Tariq Cohen?
I got Cohen ahead.
What about you, Lucas?
Are we talking PPR here? Because
Yeah.
this matters. PPR, I think I'm still going Cohen. Until he shows otherwise, I mean, the guy's balling.
So rest of season, Jordan Howard or Tariq Cohen?
Oh, man, that pains me. But the way they're using him, Cohen.
Yeah. Let me look at something real quick here.
So if you had Howard and someone offered you Cohen for him straight up, would you make the trade?
I wouldn't want to. I probably.
No, you know what?
I probably wouldn't just because it's. No, I guess I would in a PPR. Yeah, I would. I guess. You know, I'd act like I didn't like it though, and try to act try to ask for something more.
Maybe get like a Devontae Parker with it or something.
Yep, 100%.
I think rest of the season I have to go Howard.
Yeah, I'm going back and forth on this one. It's a tie for me right now.
He had 22 rushes last week.
Yeah, last Thursday when I had
the volume's still there.
Had George and Jason on from Break from the Grind last week, and I said Cohen. Then Howard, had a ton of touches and scored a touchdown. Now it's back to being tied. Ask me next week.
Yeah, I'm not someone who likes to make this case, but I'm going to right now. I'm that guy. I'm that butt guy. Tariq Cohen had 17.5 points and a half-point PPR with a 75-yard catch and run.
Yeah.
That right there was 13 points. So without that one play, he has a 4-point game. And
right, but how many times can we do this for each player?
You heard what I just said, though. You heard what I said.
No, exactly. And
Howard, though,
gave yourself.
Right. This is my justification is that Howard had 22 rushes last game. So Cohen ended up having the better game because of that one play early on. But aside from that one play that was early in the game, Howard was the guy. He was getting all of the touches.
Yeah.
Going forward, I think I am going to say Howard because he's getting those touches.
All right. Remind me next week. I'll come back to it. Let's move on here.
Season long. We're talking rest of the season.
Right. That's what I meant. Yeah. I'll make my decision by next week. Allen Robinson did not practice on Thursday.
Nope.
Something to keep in mind when you're setting your lineups on Sunday. Taylor Gabriel or Anthony Miller this week, if you had to play one. Just give me a name.
I don't think Gabriel's particularly healthy as well, so I'm going to go Miller.
I'm Gabriel here.
What about rest of season?
Gabriel was a full participant today.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, rest of the season I'm going to go Gabriel.
Yep, same here. Oh, so Steve and I did the great debate this week, and it was Anthony Miller versus Christian Kirk. Obviously, that's not a great debate over this week because Christian Kirk's on a bye. But I want to ask you guys, who would you rather have rest of season over Anthony Miller and Christian Kirk?
Probably Kirk, because he's clearly the number 2 wide receiver there behind Larry Fitz, and there's a huge separation between the other ones, if you ask me. And Anthony Miller is vying there with Taylor Gabriel, and then having 2 running backs getting touches. Yeah. And Traper.
Steve did a great job on his first great debate, though.
He did.
Yep. He's amazing. Okay, moving to the Bills side of the ball. There's really only one piece of news. Terrell Pryor just signed with the Bills, but presumably because he's a better quarterback. Because he's a better quarterback than Nathan.
Exactly.
But
Exactly what it is.
he's obviously Peterman is still going to be the starter. They did sign Matt Barkley too, right, to back him up. Isn't that right? Didn't they just do that today?
I think that was yesterday, but yeah.
Yesterday? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, ridiculous. He's still got a job. Terrell Pryor, though, not going to be the starting quarterback, but he is going to get snaps at quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't they use him in that way,
Yeah, I mean, it's smart.
Yeah. Is there any other Bill? Obviously, LaShawn McCoy is worth owning, but worth talking about against the Bears? You're not playing shady against the Bears, are you?
Zay Jones,
maybe this week, honestly. I think that you might just purely based off volume.
Sit McCoy.
Start him. He's an RB2 flex candidate this week. I mean, think about it. If on a 16 bye, you're telling me that Shady McCoy is not going to finish in the top 24 of running backs this week?
It's hard for me to say no to that in a vacuum. However,
that's what we're looking at.
But I mean, look, we're still talking about. Look, when you say Shady McCoy, it changes things, because we're still talking about Shady McCoy. But I don't think we can look. Let's start calling him LaShawn, right? Because Shady is for when he's like the beast of a back, Shady McCoy, and he hasn't been that this year. So let's just call him LaShawn. I don't know. I mean, doesn't have a great matchup, and I don't know. I feel like yeah, you start him, but you're not happy about it. I think I'd rather have like a I don't know, like a dart throw guy almost at this point, just because he's failed you so many times.
I didn't realize Shady had that sort of like punch to it.
Yeah, I mean, that's where you get it from, right? You don't get called Shady McCoy and it's not some sort of cool, it doesn't have some sort of cool connotation to it. All right. He hasn't been that.
LaShawn.
Start
sit LaShawn McCoy, who's
gonna sit him, unfortunately.
What if I had Alex Collins or LaShawn McCoy?
Going Collins.
What about you, Lucas?
I'm Collins.
I'm Collins as well. Let's move on here. Buccaneers at Panthers. The Fitzmagic is back. Sit Ryan Fitzpatrick against the Panthers.
Start him a bye.
Yeah, go ahead and start him. Because even if he throws 3 picks, which he could very well do, he's still going to have 3 touchdowns and a ton of yards.
Yeah, he's going to have like 300 yards.
I like it. Peyton Barber is most likely going to have the backfield to himself again, so that is good for you, Hoos. I know you're still a big Peyton Barber fan. Chris Godwin or Deshaun Jackson this week?
D-Jax with Fitz back there.
Yep, D-Jax for me as well. What about you, Lucas?
I'm going Godwin, and here's why. Carolina lets up a lot of yardage over the middle to the slot route and to the short yardage route, so I expect the tight ends, mainly O.J. Howard being the guy here, but I expect O.J. Howard and Chris Godwin to catch a lot over the middle.
And Godwin did catch a whole bunch of touchdowns with Ryan Fitzpatrick to start the season.
Yes, he did.
To be fair, so did Deshaun Jackson, Mike Evans, and O.J. Howard. But
I know. Everyone feasts. So it's, when you ask this, it's not like there's not really a guy I don't like.
Right.
And the age-old thing with Deshaun is, though, you really need that 70-yard touchdown. And if you don't get it, he's probably, he has such a low floor. You're probably not going to have a good day. Godwin, I'm not really seeing a bad day for him.
Right. I agree.
Yeah, especially touchdowns. I mean, he gets featured there so often.
Yep.
Mike Evans is an absolute stud, especially with Ryan Fitzpatrick. So he's vaulted back up into maybe even the top 5 wide receiver conversation. As I was finalizing my rankings today, I have Mike Evans as my wide receiver 4 this week for the sole reason that Fitzpatrick is back.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No. O.J. Howard back to a must start, right?
Yes.
He's a 7 for you, Hoos?
Yeah, he's 7 for me.
Nice. Yep. Yeah, we like him a lot this week. Cam Newton, I think, is going to have a big week against the Bucs, especially Cam Newton at home. Definitely going to start him. Christian McCaffrey's a stud. You're playing him. Devin Funchess or DJ Moore this week? Just give me a name.
Moore.
Funchess
for me. Greg Olsen, is he top 5 against the Bucs?
Yes.
This week, sure.
All right, moving on here. Got a few games left before we get to prime time. Chargers at Seahawks. I think you play all Chargers. Phillip Rivers, Melvin Gordon, Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, and you can maybe even play both of the Williamses over there, Tyrell Williams and Mike Williams, against that poor Seattle defense. I am actually calling in Antonio Gates' touchdown this week. I think we see it happen.
Okay. I'm hoping some Eckler action. That's what I'm calling here.
Yeah, we're hoping so.
Little Eckler action. Russell Wilson, still a must start, right? I mean, he's not running as much, but he's still efficient with passing the ball. He's still getting you fantasy points.
He finds a way to do it. He's a back half of the season kind of guy.
Chris Carson has had 25 carries, 105 rushing yards, and a touchdown last week. Got to be in that lineup this week, right?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Doug Baldwin or Tyler Lockett?
Lockett.
Lock it.
Lock it in.
I'm leaning Lockett as well. Texans at Broncos. This is going to be an interesting game. Demaryius Thomas gets traded from the Broncos to the Texans on Tuesday and then has to play the Broncos 5 days later. So kind of fitting. Not really a revenge game necessarily because he knew he was going to get traded, but you don't really expect to see your teammates on the other side of the field 5 days after that. I love this move for Deshaun Watson. I love it for Hopkins, even though I don't think Hopkins was going to be affected either way. I think Kiki takes a hit.
See, I don't really think so because Demaryius isn't going to be run out of the slot, which is where Kiki is. And there's no guarantee that Demaryius is going to come out and just be a target monster. So
why wouldn't you?
Because Hopkins is still going to retain around 50% of the volume. So DT could get a couple touchdowns, but I don't see him getting more targets than Kiki rest of the season once Kiki's healthy. I don't see that at all.
He should. Yeah, I mean, I'd rather have Thomas over Kiki, but maybe not this week.
I mean, if you guys want to do a PPR bet, not starting this week, but from week 10 forward, I'll take Kiki if you guys want DT.
Oh, yeah. Give me Demaryius Thomas over Kiki rest of the season.
Okay. Starting week 10. Got it.
Why starting week 10?
Because Kiki may not be playing this week, so.
All right.
I would like to have it where they're both actually on the field. That's the bet that we're making is once they're both on the field. Yeah.
There we go. Yep. Hoos, give me your thoughts on Jordan Thomas. 2 touchdowns last week for the tight end.
Yeah, Ryan Griffin's going to be back.
Yeah. So not worth owning, right?
No.
There we go. Lamar Miller has turned back the clock, apparently. First Texans player with back-to-back 100-yard rushing game since Arian Foster did it back in 2014. 18 carries for 133 yards and a touchdown last week. Do you think this continues?
I mean, he's capable of doing this when Watson's the quarterback. I mean, we've said this last year, and I think, we said some of it earlier in the year when nobody were too high on him, but yeah, I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibilities at all. This is kind of what we expected with him and Watson, playing together.
Lucas, I've got Miller at 19 in a PPR. Too high or too low?
That's about right. I'd have him 19 to 21 probably.
Gotcha. It is Cortland Sutton time in Denver. The Broncos apparently liked what they saw in this kid so much that they decided to make the transition to him in the middle of the season. Start sit this week against Houston. I'm playing him.
Start that boy.
Yeah, you're going to start him.
Yeah.
What are you saying it like that? Have you seen how talented this kid is? And now he's finally going to slide in to that target share that Demaryius Thomas was eating?
Yeah, I'm
still not getting the excitement I want to hear.
Who's go drink some coffee. You got one speed going on tonight, man.
I got my guy Tim Patrick.
That's what
being a guy that we can look at, and you guys know I like to talk about guys that no one talks about. This guy is 6'5", 210. He's 24. He's shown ability with that 24-yard touchdown. His only target. I think he can show you some of that, that DT appeal. It all depends on the QB. It all depends on the QB.
Okay, so I'll take Sutton, 100%. And you take your guy rest of the season.
You can't even remember.
Oh man, that's Tim Patrick. I don't know if
Tim Patrick. There we go.
Tim Patrick. I don't know about that. I'm not.
See, that's what we're saying exactly. So okay, so we'll give your guy.
We're talking about week 9.
Slide in.
I'm just saying right now, I'm not feeling he's definitely the guy. Tim Patrick is there. He's a guy that, he's caught already a big touchdown. And Sutton, he's looked kind of like he kind of needs targets. I don't know if Tim Patrick needs targets. He might be a guy that just
receiver who doesn't need targets to catch a ball.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some guys that are just very, efficient, with whatever targets that they're getting.
So 100% of his targets have been touchdowns, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so Tim Patrick has 6 targets on the season, and Cortland Sutton
has 6 touchdowns.
No, 6 targets and 1 touchdown. Cortland Sutton has had 37 targets. So
Tim Patrick's more efficient.
That's exactly right. More efficient.
Let's move on here. Is Philip Lindsay a top 15 running back if Freeman misses time again?
He's a top 15 even when he's there.
All right, so that's a quick yes.
Yep.
I mean, this is a guy that has not gotten the respect this season that he deserves.
You're right about that.
I feel like he has.
Has he though? Because he had one game he got 2 points because he got kicked out. Had you just given him an 8-point game, which would have been his season low, an 8-point game for that game, he would be sitting at the RB 11 spot, and that's with Royce being there all season. So Philip Lindsay he's everyone's viewing him as like a RB2, RB3. No, this guy is a top end RB2 for you, putting up numbers every week, Mr. Reliable, and can break off a big play. I just think the boy needs some respect.
I've got him at 14 for what it's worth.
Yeah, I've been there too. I do agree with you though, just saying that maybe the community hasn't been as high on him. But yeah, he's right there behind Barkley, or if not ahead of Barkley as far as rookie yards. So I definitely dig him.
Let's move on. One final game before getting to Sunday night. The most exciting game of the week, in my opinion, Rams at Saints. You're starting all the Rams, right? Jared Goff, Todd Gurley, Robert Woods, Brandon Cooks, Cooper Kupp. If he plays, he's still questionable at this point, but if he plays, you're lining him up. Todd Gurley is just flat out amazing, right?
Yes.
That was a rhetorical question. Just flat out amazing. Moving to the Saints side of the ball, I actually like Drew Brees a lot in this matchup because this Rams offense is powerful and they can put up a ton of points. I do think Brees is going to have to throw, which leads me to my next question. Is this an Alvin Kamara or a Mark Ingram game, or both?
Both.
It's always both.
They both get it. They showed it all season last season. They both get it.
Yeah, they both finished top 6 in PPR. And that's with Adrian Peterson vulturing touches for the first 3 weeks, too.
That's right.
Is Traquan Smith worth a play?
Nope. Let me see it. You got to show it.
Who starts sit Traquan?
Yeah.
All right, send him.
All right. I know that was painful for you to have to do. Michael Thomas, obviously a stud. I think he's going to have a huge game. Guys, that's going to wrap it up for the Sunday during the day games. Prime time, Mr. Lucas, take us to Sunday Night Football.
Okay. Sunday Night Football, baby. Packers at Patriots. We've got some good ones here the last few weeks. We've really got some good primetime games. And Packers-Patriots, for the second time ever that Rodgers and Brady will face off against each other. Rodgers took the 1-game lead against them when they played 5 years ago.
They've only played each other twice?
They've only played each other once.
Once? Wow.
This will be time 2. Yep, and Rodgers got the best of them. So this one's going to be a big game, and I'm stoked. I'm stoked. So let me see what we have going on here. Aaron Rodgers averaging less than 2 touchdowns per game. Last week he only had 286 and 1 after 2 great games going into the bye. Chris, what do you think here? Does he have what's the over/under on 3 touchdowns?
I think he gets 3.
Okay.
We'll say this. I don't think he gets less than 3 touchdowns.
Hoos, what do you think here?
Yeah, I mean, he has to. I mean, he's going against the GOAT. So, yeah, he's got to show out.
Wait, he's playing against Peyton Manning?
Come on.
That's the old,
come on.
That's the old Billy Goat there.
Yeah, I thought Manning was retired.
You're talking about the current one that, actually still slinging things.
Oh, with 5 asterisks at the end of his name?
Yeah.
You'd probably have more if it wasn't for Eli. So.
All right.
Yeah,
I'm bringing us back in here. I'm bringing us back. So
that was my
this
dig.
is going to be a shootout. What do you guys think? Is Aaron Jones, is he going to be a top 15 guy this week?
I have him at 16.
I'm not willing to say that just because it could be Jamal Williams for all we know.
See, that's the thing I wanted to bring up. Yeah, I am
what's really going
trying
on?
to go look for Jamal Williams in your leagues. If he's on waivers, grab him.
I agree. So who is going to be the beneficiary this week? Who do you think is going to finish as the number one skill position player for Green Bay of tight ends, wide receivers, and running backs?
Devontae Adams. Yeah, easily.
Adams. Yeah.
Well, see, here's my thing. What does Belichick do? What does he scheme for? He always takes away one player. Why would that not be Devontae Adams this week?
I don't think it's going to matter so much.
Well, I mean, in terms of who we think is going to get points.
If he's only played against Aaron Rodgers once, though, not like he's super familiar against playing against him.
Well, it's Belichick.
I think they know what they're doing there. I think they're going to try, and they might even move Adams around a bit.
Well, that's just what I'm saying. That's what I am saying is I would not be surprised if this is one of Devontae Adams' worst games of the season for that one reason. He has been the playmaker, Mr. Reliable for Aaron Rodgers this season. I think Belichick forces them to go elsewhere.
12 catches, 120 yards, and a touchdown.
Under for Adams, for me. Geronimo Allison, start sit.
Start. Fire him up.
Not worried about Valdez or Cobb?
Nope.
How about Jimmy Graham?
Got to start him.
Sit.
Jimmy Graham or O.J. Howard this week?
Howard.
Okay. I think Jimmy gets some love over the middle this week. I do. But I like Howard also.
Yeah, you just can't count on it.
If it was Winston, I would have said Graham. The quarterback makes a difference for me.
It does. Anything else on the Green Bay side that we need to talk about?
Can't wait to see Clay Matthews get flagged for hitting Brady.
How many over-under 2 roughing the passers on Clay Matthews?
I think he gets at least one. He'll get one that's a bullshit roughing the passer, and then he'll hit Brady for real the next time and earn one.
Okay,
so if you're gonna call it on me, I'm gonna hit him anyway.
So here's the hypothetical here. Packers are up by 4 points. 2-minute drill for the Patriots. Does Clay Matthews get to stay in the game?
No.
Until he gets ejected.
Yeah. All right. Flipping over here to Brady and his boys. Once again, playing in prime time. Is Brady a start this week?
Yeah, you got to start him.
Packers just traded away Clinton Dix too.
That's right. So you got to start Brady. Sony Michel is questionable. What do you do here, guys? You have Sony Michel questionable. We have so many teams on bye. Do you wait and hope that he plays, or you try to find something, scrounge something together on the waivers?
I mean,
you got to put something together.
If you've got Dion Lewis, like I put in the show notes, if you have Dion Lewis and you're willing to play him Monday night, then it may be worth it.
Okay.
Because I mean, like we got a bunch of good running backs on a bye this week. We got TJ Yeldon's out, Marlon Mack, Saquon Barkley, David Johnson, Joe Mixon, Smallwood, and Clement are out.
A lot of guys on bye.
Yeah.
A lot of guys on bye.
Oh, yeah.
So, yep. So I like your take on that. Moving forward here, you have James White should be top 12 once again. Top 12. I mean, my dude should be.
I got him number 8.
Top 8 for sure again.
Yeah, I got him 7.
Top 6 if Michelle's out. No doubt in my mind.
Easily.
Okay, here we go. Edelman or Gordon this week?
Gordon.
Edelman.
This is the week.
So
Edelman.
Why? Why is this the week for Gordon?
Because I want to believe in Josh Gordon.
See, I got to go Edelman after having his first 100-yard game, really looking in sync with Brady again. I think Edelman's really your guy. Next we have Big Rob. Is he, and when will he ever finish as the number 1 tight end during a week this season?
I don't think it happens this week. I think it's going to be Kelsey.
Okay.
I'm hoping that he does. I mean, but I need him to. It's dropping him high in a few leagues.
I have no shares of Gronkowski, so I hope he never does.
I got one.
Thanks.
I did get one. Ooh. Okay. Pierre Garçon just got in the end zone. Anyway.
What?
Yeah. He just made an appearance here from Mullins, Mr.
Really?
Mullins,
Nick Mullins. All right.
who I had to start this week, by the
And
way.
my ESPN app hasn't
played him
updated
in,
yet. Oh, there it is.
In the draft.
Mullins is 3 for 3 with a touchdown.
Yeah.
Rita looking good out there.
Man,
Yeah.
the
Okay.
GOAT.
How about
Okay.
that 49ers with the
Let's jump back
with a
into it
couple
here.
Yeah, let's move on to the next game.
Okay, we got one more game. Monday Night Football. You know who it is. The Titans, the little mini Titans
Mhm.
coming to Dallas. They're gonna get wrecked, right? They're gonna get wrecked in like a 6-9 game. Right? Is this what's gonna happen? That's what I'm predicting.
This one's going to be
Low
as fun to
scoring.
watch as Oakland and 49ers.
This game hasn't been bad so far. Both teams have moved it. So funny enough. So my Cowboys are gonna win. That's all we need to know, right?
Yeah,
Marcus
most likely.
Mariota sucks for fantasy. No one wants to play him. Deion Lewis, 13 carries for 91 yards, 6 catches for 64 yards going into last week's bye. How do you like him against the Cowboys, Hus?
Not bad. I mean, Cowboys got a tough defense though.
Yes, they do.
Been looking better every year defensively, actually. So not too high on them, actually.
Okay, I got some conflicting feelings there on Deion. You were into
Yeah,
him and
you said
weren't.
pretty good.
You
and then not
realized
too high.
how good my Cowboys are, and that kind of sinks in. Oh, I love saying the Cowboys have a good defense. Yeah, I'm not feeling great about Deion this week.
I got him
but
at 20.
You might have to play him.
Yeah, I've got him at 22. I mean, so like you're probably gonna have to play him, but I'm not feeling too hot.
It's a necessity play.
So
Yeah, unfortunately.
Lewis or McCoy?
I have Lewis.
Yeah, probably on Lewis.
The
Okay.
Bears defense is what leaned me away against from Shady.
Hey,
What's
let
wrong?
me just double my
Double
double check.
Double
Let
down?
me double
Okay.
check. Let me double check.
Okay, so no one else we think that is worth
It
mentioning.
is Lewis. It is
Corey
Lewis.
Davis.
Man,
we
I
don't-
got them far apart.
Yeah, no one else is worth mentioning.
Yeah, so I mean that's about it. We don't love the Titans. Who could have thunk? Who called that before the season started? Cowboys now have
Hey.
Amari Cooper. As a Cowboy fan, how excited am I? Let me just say this, okay? I think we're finally going to see Gallup come into his own,
I
going
hope
down
so.
the right, and Amari's going to help stretch the field. It's going to prevent them from stacking the box at least. They just need to sling it a couple go routes. Just get Amari stretching the field. Make sure they're not stacking the box quite as much. Let Dak do some play action. Get Zeke the ball. I think this helps. Even if Amari doesn't have huge stats, just the presence of having that guy that can stretch the field, a big body like that again, is going to demand respect and open things up for Zeke and Dak to get back into what they were doing. So I think this is actually going to help a lot, even if Amari doesn't have huge numbers.
Why didn't they just bring back Dez?
Because Dez was being a prima donna. He was being lazy. He was having a lot of issues with the coaches. And granted, I would be upset if I was Dez also, because they weren't doing anything creative for him in the play calling. They were just kind of expecting him to go and catch the ball in 50-50 coverage. They weren't doing things to get him open, and it wasn't creative, and he was being a prima donna about it, is really what it boiled down to. And that's just kind of what happened. He was at odds, and he wasn't motivated on the field, and it showed. So they split ways.
Man, what a bad man. I hate to see those super talented guys just no one looks at them after they get cut. Like,
Well, but see, that carried over though. He could have signed somewhere. He could be playing ball.
Yeah, that's true with Baltimore. Yeah,
He said he had like 10 offers. So I don't know how much you want to look into that.
That's more like 3.
But even then, he could be balling, right? He could be balling. If that's what he wanted to do, was come out and prove it. He's sitting at home on Sundays. He could have been out there making 7 figures this season. I can't say exactly how far into the 7 figures, but it's a lot of money.
Yeah,
that's a lot of money. And how many years are you really going to get to do that? Like, come on, go ball out.
It's more than nothing. I mean, you lost a year of salary.
Yes, that's a lot.
Just
you know?
dumb.
It takes a lot of people a long time to make into the 7 figures. So
yeah.
Speaking of which, come back, love. Come back. Don't be an idiot. Come back. Don't sacrifice your whole season.
Yes, and don't sacrifice next season. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Okay, don't get me on that rant. Your whole thing is you're saving your bodies.
Yeah, let's finish up the show.
Yeah, don't even get me started on the lead bell thing. Don't even get me going.
Sorry.
Oh man. So Zeke, obviously a stud. He hasn't quite produced what those top 3, top 4 numbers that we expected him to, but at least he's on the field playing, and he's playing as a back end RB1. Hopefully he starts stepping up second half of the season. Jeff Swaim, worth owning in a regular league, or is that more of a deeper league, 2 tight end kind of league that you're looking to pick him up?
I think given the tight end landscape, I think he's worth owning.
If you have a league where you have 7 bench spots instead of 6, he's worth a shot.
Okay, I like it. Who do you think Cooper helps the most? It can be any skill position or another wide receiver.
Honestly, probably Swaim.
Okay.
It's going to be Zeke for me.
And it's going to be Gallup for me. Gallup is that guy that, because he's a rookie, he has a lot of talent. It's going to take the best corner, if they're ever playing a shadow, is going to be on Amari. So you're going to see Gallup on some one-on-one coverage of a second or third best corner on the team, which should allow him to get open and get some confidence. I think that ties us up. Is there anything else there we need to talk about for the boys?
That is it.
America's team. All right.
Whatever. Get that shit out of here. Guys, let's move into our Flex Those Muscles segment. So, got 2 different players I'm going to ask you about. Just give me a name. These are guys who are both flex-worthy. Who would you rather play? And Hus, I'll let you go first. Lucas, go second. That way we're not talking over each other. Marvin Jones or John Brown?
Jones.
Give me that Marvin Jones.
Jones for me as well. Collins or Crowell?
Yeah, Crowell.
Yep, same here. Chris Godwin or Doug Baldwin?
Godwin's the Godwin.
We're just thinking right now.
Yeah.
Godwin.
I'm leaning the same way. Mike Williams or Deshaun Jackson?
D-Jax.
Yeah. Mike Williams, you done me so dirty. I was so high on you this season.
No.
Mm-hmm.
I actually dropped him in the league. I wasn't happy about it, but
Dropped him in every league that I have him. Every single one I've dropped him for Kiki or Traquan Smith or
Something.
Parker or DJ Moore. I mean, there's just so many better people that come up.
D-Jax for you.
Yeah, that's my rant.
Traquan Smith or Geronimo Allison?
Give me Allie.
Give me Traquan.
Give me Geronimo.
Okay.
Amari Cooper or Devin Funchess?
Give me Funches.
Yeah, give me Funches too, just because of that
go
Tampa defense.
What?
I'm going to take a shot on Cooper.
I mean, I'm playing him in the league. The one league I have Cooper, I'm using him. So I would love for him to do well.
Taking a shot. Nick Chubb or Latavius Murray?
Oh, Nick Chubb. I'll take. What? Is that close for you?
Yeah, just because Latavius has looked really good so far. I mean, with the work that he's given, and there's not really much.
What do your rankings say?
Hurt me.
What's up?
What do your rankings say?
My rankings, hang on, I didn't even look.
I have Chubb 11 and Murray at 15, so Nick Chubb from me.
Actually, yeah, no, they're back to back. I got Murray 13, Chubb is 14.
Okay, so Murray for you.
Yep.
Willie Snead or Paul Richardson?
I don't like either of them, to be honest, but probably Richardson just based purely out of necessity. If Reed is out and Crowder's out,
Snead.
I'm taking Snead as well. Last one here, David Moore or Marquez Valdez-Scantling?
Moore.
Give me Marquez. He's looked really good. Even with Allison there last week, Marquez got more targets and got in the end zone. He looks to be the better wide receiver. They're playing the Patriots, so this should be a shootout. And with Devontae Adams getting a lot of the coverage, one of these other wide receivers is going to have to step up.
I mean,
David
Moore.
Thanks for making that nice and short for me.
4 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks. I don't know.
That's fair.
Kind of hard to get away from that.
All right, guys, let's move on to our last segment here. Streamer Wire. We've got a streaming quarterback and tight end. Each one of us has one of each for you. Let's do quarterbacks first. I'm going to kick it off. My streaming quarterback is Baker Mayfield. I feel like he's one of our streaming quarterbacks every single week, but only 38% owned. This week going against the Chiefs, he is at home. I think the Chiefs are going to put up points, and their defense still isn't stellar. Browns are going to have to throw. I think Baker Mayfield's in for a huge day. Hoos, what about your quarterback?
I like that. I like the Baker Mayfield. I was actually leaning Mayfield as well. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but Mitch Trubisky.
What's his ownership percentage?
I'm not actually. That's why I said I wasn't sure if I could say it. I don't have his percentage in front of me. Let me see. Trubisky. I'm sure he's owned in a ton of leagues just because we've talked about him.
72%.
70, yeah. So, I mean, if he's allowed, if not, I'm gonna go Carr. Even though he played already tonight, so it doesn't really help you there.
Way to come prepared for this segment.
I would have went Carr there had you heard the show the day after.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right, Lucas, what about your quarterback?
Yeah, so mine's Fitzpatrick. I know he's 60% owned now. He was only
I would have said Fitzpatrick.
20 or 30% owned at the beginning of the week. Obviously, with the Jameis information, he's now been picked up everywhere, but he's still available in 40% of your leagues. And on a week where 6 teams are on bye, the only other guy I would even consider, it's really Baker, Alex Smith, and Dak and Flacco. And you already took Baker, who would have been my first. So if Fitz is out there, that's my guy.
All right. Let's do tight ends. Little snake here. Lucas, take us back to the tight end way.
Okay, so this one is going to surprise some people because they haven't thought about him. Hayden Hurst. He's only 11% owned. Pittsburgh has given up the 4th most points to tight ends. Hayden Hurst was highly touted going into this season. Everyone expected him to do big things. Obviously, he got hurt. I think that this may be the last week that you can get a hold of Hayden Hurst before he has a big game. I expect a big game from him.
Who's your tight end?
And I'm going to go Ed Dixon here.
I like it.
I think that he was what we just saw him first basically activated for last week's game. He got it in the end zone. And I think we're going to see more of them. I mean, they don't have much options. They got to lean on what they have. And Ed Dixon, I think, is a decent play for you against Chargers.
Lean on me.
That's right. When you ain't strong.
That's right.
And my tight end is Chris Herndon, 10% owned. This is just a out of necessity move. He has caught a touchdown for 3 straight weeks. Is this more of like you're just hoping for this to continue? So
yeah,
10% owned though. There's a pretty good chance you can go grab him.
That's right. So a couple decent options there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, in a tight end desert, basically. Still got some good options this week.
Tight end desert with 6 teams on bye. Yeah.
And I was actually going to go Mark Andrews, other than
for the same reason, huh?
Yeah, because Mark Andrews, he's actually been used quite a bit, I think. And even though we've been wanting to see more of Hurst, Andrews is still getting used. I mean, he hasn't had a touchdown. Well, he had a touchdown in week 7, but he only has 2 touchdowns on the year. But they're using quite a bit of their tight ends. I just wish they would use one.
All right, guys, that is going to wrap it up for the Week 9 preview. Go to our website, sleeperwire.com. You can find our rankings on there. You can click the free advice button and get a question submitted straight to us where we all debate it and get back to you within 24 hours. You can follow us on Twitter at Sleeperwire Show. You can find Hus on there at Sleeperwire Hus, Lucas on there at Sleeperwire LBB, and I am on there at Prof_Chris SW. Follow us on the Sleeper app at Prophet Hus, Sleeperwire LBB, and Professor Chris, and then the Fantasy Life app at Hus the Prophet and Professor Chris as well. Hus, Lucas, thank you so much for joining me again.
Absolutely.
Everybody else, good luck this week. We'll catch you next week. Peace.